Hi, and welcome to the podcast. This is the Assured and Brazen podcast. Anywhere you're watching on YouTube, Amazon, Apple, Deezer, iHeart, we love having you here, and it's a blessing in itself. So today's topic, we're gonna get into it. Sorry, I didn't even say my name. I'm your host, Kevin. I'm definitely delving into a lot of difficult topics this year. This is episode 4. This episode is going to be titled "The CEO is Not You." Resigning the throne. So I think this is a topic that a lot of people face difficulty with. They think that they control their own lives. So like, I'm not sure if you ever noticed if you're an early riser or not, or maybe you're an evening night owl type of thing. Whenever you get that like little bit of time to work, do your best work, whether that's in the office or whether that's somewhere else. Even at home, some people do remote work, right? But whenever you get that best time to work, maybe 3 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever time it is that you're working, this is when we like kind of hold the board meetings of our lives. And we like to calculate the risk that we manage. The people who annoy us, we try to fix the future, a lot of different things that we try to manage. And just like a company, you would oversee everything. And there's times that we climb into our chair, which is like, the CEO of our lives. And we wonder why we're exhausted, why we're tired, why we're anxious, why we're scared. And today on the podcast, we're talking about the most like crazy thing that you probably could do ever, I'm sure. And we're talking about giving up control, handing in the resignation as the boss of your own life. Now, why do I say handing in the resignation of the boss of your own life? I think a lot of people, especially in this day and age, they want to see themselves as the boss of their life. You went to school for a certain amount of time to become a doctor, lawyer, similar to the episode of the titles that I mentioned back in episode 2. You kind of have a structure or a look that you want your life to be or how you want your life to turn out. I'm a strong believer that God always has a plan for you. And that plan might not mesh with your plan, right? And if you're not okay with that, you're going to go through a lot of hardships. So how can we give up our plan for our lives and then just follow someone else's plan? It sounds a little bit absurd, right? Like when you say it out loud, you're like, what's going on? But here's the thing. God has a plan for all of us. And the beautiful thing about it is his plan is based on your skill sets, your talents, everything that you think you're not good at. He might be building your character solely to make you something that to make you someone that he wants to use. And the beautiful thing about it is like, for example, me, I look at myself and I never thought I'd get on YouTube or do any type of public speaking, right? I'm doing a podcast and this is not something that I'm like excited to do every day, It definitely excites me that I'm talking to people around the world. This is something cool that I can do and share with people, but it's definitely like frightening at times. Like you got to think like this is something that like people get up on stage and do years of schooling to do and become a pastor and that kind of thing. I'm just a regular Joe with a 9 to 5 job. I come home and then if I got some time on the weekends, I'm just light up my laptop and start recording. I'm not anyone any different than you, but the Lord knows how to use our gifts and our talents to make us megaphones for other people. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So today I want to talk about, do the deep dive, which is we're going to go into Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. And there's a little verse in there. Psalms is amazing. Proverbs is always very, very amazing. There's a little verse in there and it says like, lean not on your own understanding. Lean not on your own understanding. When you lean on your own brain, you're standing on sand. Your understanding is limited. God's infinite. Right? So when we try to trust our own logic, our own brain to do something, it might not work out the way we want it to be. Like I said before, we have these visions and these images of ourselves doing certain things. And maybe that's not God's plan for you, right? God's plan is set up for you before you've been born. So whether you're supposed to be a public speaker, a millionaire, whatever it might be, he has something for you or a way for you to bless other people. I think it's a beautiful thing that even people that aren't followers or believers in Christ, they all have the gifts that they've been given by God. And it's just up to them to realize that like, hey, where did this gift come from? And when they do realize where that gift came from and how they can bless others with that gift, that's when the beautiful thing of God's like infinite knowledge and infinite like design comes in hand. You weren't designed to carry the weight of the future. You weren't designed to be a god. When you resign as a CEO, right? You don't lose power. You lose um the weight of all the decisions, all the weight of all the troubles, all these different things. that you just like shed the weight off. And imagine there's somebody who kind of prepared you in life, but even before you were born, and he's like, "Hey, you get to be a middle manager. You don't have to do everything. You get to be a middle manager in the kingdom. You're not have to do everything from the top down. You just got to do everything that I hand you, that I give you, and manage it well." Like, how crazy is that? And something I'd like to talk about next is how we can audit ourselves. When we get up early in the morning, you have to look at the things that make you anxious. And if we trace it back to like the root cause, every time you feel that like spike in panic, it's because you're trying to control an outcome that isn't yours to manage. When you're acting like a CEO, you're actually a middle manager. You're trying to guarantee the harvest when your only job is to plant the seed. So God is setting up a harvest for you, right? And the only thing you have to worry about is planting the seed. You plant the seed, you let it grow, and you bear fruits. And those fruits is what, the Lord uses to help bless other people, right? Whether it's your money, your attention, your talents, like I said, these are all things that you have to worry about. That's the only things you got to worry about. God already put it in you. So all you have to do is use it to the best of your ability for other people. Man, the thing that I think that we do, or should be better at doing, I should say, is we hold on to control because we don't trust God's timing. We think if we let go, that the company or our life will fail or go bankrupt, go out of business, and that's not the case. Like, you have to look at the way that things are structured and how we're gonna better understand God's plan. If you remember before, I said like hearing God's voice in episode 3, right? And hearing God's voice is an amazing thing. I haven't gotten to that point yet for myself. I do read my Bible. I'll listen to podcasts. I'll read my devotionals, but understanding God's timing, having the discernment to understand God's timing, that's a whole different thing in itself. You trying to understand, especially us men, like we are very prideful, I would say, in the way that we live our lives. Like we think that we know best, and sometimes you just gotta let God be that GPS. And I didn't say that. That's actually one of my pastors at church that said it to me during a sermon once. He said that like whenever you're working on a GPS, you have to type in the address, and you need to start moving in that direction before he even gives you like the directions to go where to go. Right. So imagine if I just put the address in and I never moved. God's got the plan in motion, and people are like, yeah, God, just do this for me, do this for me. But you're not taking the action as well, right? These are little steps that like people miss in this like talk and this discussion as well. And I think the way that we could fix it is we hand in our badge. We say, hey, every time you feel that you need to control, say that, hey, not my department. Like if you're in the janitor's closet and you're wondering why things are turning out the way they turn out, and you're like, hey, sorry, not my department. It's out of my hands. When you think of things in that way, you're like, oh, okay, this is something that I like, except need to control. But the minute you say that in your head, like it's not my department, it's like you don't care anymore. Except like it's not in my department, right? So let's treat it that way, right? And thing I want to share, last thing I want to share before I close this one out. It's like a little challenge. I've been doing challenge every episode so far, and I'm liking the way this has been coming out. And I think for this challenge, we're gonna do every morning this week. Before you check your phone, before you check your phone before you do anything, you're gonna put your hands out. You're gonna take your hands out, palms down, and you're gonna say, "I resign as CEO." Then you're gonna flip them up and say, "Reporting for duty." Simple as that. So I resign as CEO, and you're gonna flip them up and say, "Reporting for duty." This will be kind of your way of telling God, like, hey, I surrender my day to you. I want you to not only take charge of my day and lead me into where I need to go, but I'm going to take the action and necessary steps that I need to make sure that I'm going where you're leading me, Lord. And I think that's a beautiful thing. If we can get to that point, then we are on the right path. So I think that's all I have for today. I'd like to say stay blessed, stay assured, and stay brazen. Peace.